This is day 291 of the Arukh HaShulchan OC. If you would like to sponsor an upcoming shir or more, the Arukh HaShulchan OC, please contact me directly. Today we are doing Siman Reish Beis Sif Mem Dalid, and actually exiting Sif Reish Beis and going on Be'ezus Hashem Yisbarach to Siman Reish Gimel Sif Hey. Mem Dalid is a long Sif. Chasad Tesis Varush Dal Tzukaro on sugar Merachim Bray Prates. Kiari im divshi, my forest with my honey, zet tsukaro, sugar. Ben Yonkas of Sham, that was sukkar mavarchim bari priadama, and sugar make bari priadama if he came mishem bahag. The Rama perches tinekas of the hakani and matukim sugar cane, shesochim masab, which you squeeze the bashi may and you cook the water achi kapa until it solidifies the dmel melech and looks like salt. There's chuvas from Arukh, which I think it was the chuv from Arukh Kataris, which he says if you don't have salt, you can use sugar to remove the blood from meat because it looks the same. Could be I'm wrong about that, but call something like that. Anyway, call Ganim Armin Shbarchel and Bray Piadama. All they're going to say make on sugar Bray Piadama. Makes us mean Bray Piadama. Some say people say Bray Piadama. So some kind, and they said somebody who sucks the cane. Mevarach Bray Piadama makes Bray Piadama. And Omer she'ain zepeli. It's not a food for him. Barachim of shakel el shakel. They make el shakel on the sugar. El shol yedvash elu akanim mishtana aideho or that this honey which comes in these canes, which is changed by the fire, should not be gadol, should not be any greater in halacha midvash tmoim than the honey of dates. Shalonishtan aideho, which is not changed by fire. Shalom above shakal, which he nevertheless makes shakal akan shono. But Tur Sigulov, the Tur disagrees. It's not comparable to date honey, where the primary fruit is the dates. And the honey is like any other beverage which flows from the fruit. But sugar, the primary planting is al-das advash. There's no way to get the honey. Without ikar perushim, that's the primary component of the fruit. A primary purpose of the fruit, I should say. Avocado surrounding this field is kind of and beginner peri cloud. The Rambam seems, however, to hold that these canes are not considered to be fruit altogether. Just like the Goyim will make Hadama, which is for the Ainz Eitz El Kazei Ba'alma, because they hold that this is not a tree. I'm sorry, Kazriya Ba'alma. It's not a tree, but rather it's just like it's planted. In other words, it's not can't be. The sugarcane is not a tree at all. But Rambam really they pretty clear. Rambam takes a step further and says it's not a fruit altogether. El Kani Ba'alma, just canes, sheish v'mesikos, which have sweetness in them. But Taisus view raya. Taisus brings evidence. See like from that which is, but Taisus brings evidence from my forest with my honey. Shekol is a yar v'uetz. So in that case, we see that sugar is called a tree. Rama said the yari lokaya divshi. Rama is that my forest is not connected to my honey. V'achei perusho. But rather, this interpretation was Yari, my forest, in divshi b'so chayar, with my honey that is within the forest. That was said this halacha should be no greater than halacha of date honey. Hakibrush means to say the father. Dover hamotzi dvash when we compare something which produces fruit, honey is not called a fruit. That honey is not considered fruit. So dvash tmorin. Because the date honey, it's not called fruit. Al shater krasel atmarim dvash. Imatar called the dates dvash. Nevertheless, mikol kapshilu rabbanon, nevertheless rabbanon are clear that coming out tomorrow that the intent is on the dates themselves. To allow dvash, not on the honey. And they uprooted the pasuk from its symbol meaning. There's no logic to say that. The honey is the fruit. Certainly is kavachama to these canes. She is like and peri can't call them a fruit, and they had vashlin because of their honey. Should not say the vashlin they be. It only becomes a honey sweet. I guess we should say a sweetener by being cooked. Mela de ladina. Therefore, was Arukh HaShulchan. That's the Rambam. We take into account to being the Rambam Baruch Shahako and make a Shahako. Should be yotzei there. So that yotzei in all opinions. Chen pasak rabbeinu beis Yosef tesvav. That's the pasak of beis Yosef. The Shabbat says, but you made a bari prates or a bari priyadam on sugar, you are yotzei. And also, Our sugar, it says Mishnah Berurah, which is made from beets, from sugar beets, you should make a shahako. If you haven't, you made hadama, you don't say, but of course you can make a eight on sugar from sugar beets. The in the brackets of Shun says Chineli Kavanas Rambam, the biggest mission Iksha Tas, Proton Yemo, Gimel, Agrov, Mashkos Magavros, Sikon Lames, Tamile Paris, Ein Sham, Yoser Kosher, Lome Dain Lame Paris, Hareza Ika Perusa. Why is it Magavram says Shako because it's made Peros? But why would you say that? This is the primary which you eat the Peros. And as the shop going to say it's really not considered to it's considered not to be a fruit altogether. Reb Shlomo Zalman has a famous letter in the Haskama to I think the Sefer Zosa Bracha. And he says he wonders for 40 years why on chocolate we don't make heights. Because the achil of chocolate is through either chocolate bars or hot cocoa. The same we could be asked about coffee. So the standard answer is because it's usually mixed with a lot of sugar. So the sugar is thicker, but really it is a big mystery why we do make on chocolate a shahako. Memheid, dvarim shein darkem lacham ela nichnasim tavlin l'machal edei terobes. Things you don't normally eat them, but you put them into a spice, which goes in the food by mixing them. It can come pilpul such as pepper with zangvil and ginger yaveshim shkorim inver, dried ginger. For gloves shall grouply shkorim neglach. I don't remember what that is. Glilin with tzitva. At least with the example of ginger that we know what it means. We don't make a bracha on them at all. I can't eat them. I only use them as a spice or herb. So he eats them. His das is negated by everybody else. It's considered to be an insanity. If you're making a bracha just on wood. I know one of those things was cinnamon, but cinnamon bark would be the same halacha. Ava goes muscat, even though it's also used as a spice. We come from the less over, so we have shus about so people eat it when it's dry on its own. Somebody has diarrhea, and muscat puts the muscat into the beer in order to constipate him. It may not sameh if he's not thirsty because muscat and the main thing is the nut. He make it come up with shemen, so he based like your chaf. I trim just like the olive oil with that negro. If he's thirsty, bar shakal make shakal on the beer, do a ikka which is primary. Kanila shoot simmering. I'm feeling that simmering is cinnamon. No. What is simmering? Good question. Yes, so simmering is cinnamon. So it's not similar to the previous things. When you eat it, when it's dry, mevarich hadama. On dry cinnamon, make hadama. Bakav the curl of tam, he knows primarily for spice. Come yesh potam, you have a connection so about. Nevertheless, it is going to have a good taste. You eat it by itself. The low down of the ingber, it's not like ginger, which is not tasty when eaten on its own. Pilpil v'zangvil kashem metuvim. When the pepper and the ginger are moist, you can do make a bar adama. Because then they are good to eat. Even though they are trees, ruba and notim abdashi shabs, most of them are planted on with the intent that they dry. And you don't eat them when they are moist. So just because you haven't eaten them when they're moist, when they are actually edible, like unripe fruit. The general principle is any fruit, but you know it's the primary fruit. To make a berry prates. They're not primary fruit. The primary usage is not for the fruit. Don't make a berry priadama. Not sure if this primary use of the fruit or not. Also make a dama. If you have no idea, you haven't learned, go learn Hilchos Brachos. Mishnah Berurah writes that if you eat them with sugar, what are we referring to? I believe it's talking about the ingber, the ginger, and the gluf shel grupli shel neglach, and the gilglin and tzifta. etc. So you made them sure they make a shahako, Bari Priyadama. Sorry, because the sugar, I guess, has fixed them to the point they can make Bari Priyadama. The Shur also says that when are you allowed to make a shahako? Adama. If you're Mesupach, if you learned, and you still don't know what the made bracha, and if you don't know at all what it is, maybe it says shahako, so therefore you make a shahako. Okay, I wish I knew what these other things were here. They're taken from a Taisvis in bracha stuff. Lamed Vav Amud Beis, but I'm not sure what they mean there either, except for the cinnamon and the ginger. Where's Gimel? Dine Berchos HaPe Pri Adama Ma'u Geder Ilan. The halacha Pri Adama, and what's considered to be a tree? Aleph Aperos Aretz Bar Pri Adama. On the fruit of the ground and Bar Pri Adama. V'lo Mein Barchim Bar Pri Aretz. Why do we say Bar Pri Aretz instead of Adama? The same Eretz Eino Al Rigve Adama. Eretz doesn't go on clumps of dirt. Well, Shem Medina, it's a name for a country. Come on, Eretz Yisrael, the land of Israel. Eretz Yisrael, the land of Egypt. But Adama is the name for the dirt itself. You can see like it says, "Vayitzer Hashem Elokim Adam, Ofra Min Adama," the dirt from the ground. Because she's pre-called Pri Adama. Bikurim comes from the Pri Hadama. Tainei says she's Pri Hadama. Why doesn't it say the fruit of a tree? Because all 7 species are chayiv in bikurim, which include wheat and barley. But grapes and figs, etc. They're also considered to be priyadama. That's right. The Evnei made very predominant on 8 year I'd say Mikra Zela Manu for Shkain. It's explicit in this passage. Zeshe Bracha Main Shosh Mesaimim Al Oretz Lo Al Adama Al Oretz Micha Al Oretz Vaperos etc. Mishum Nisham Bemes Kan Al Eretz Yisrael Kai. It's really going on Eretz Yisrael. The praise of Eretz Yisrael. Chaim Eretz Mesaimim Al Oretz Vaperos Seah. So in Eretz Yisrael we say on the land and its fruits. K'mosh K'su B'Simon Reish Ches. Chaim Yelidim Tov B'Pri Adama B'Ri Pri Oretz Lo Yotzah. Wow, if you say Bari Priya Aretz on a vegetable, you're not Yotze, because that would just infer the truth of Eretz Yisrael. So if you have to go back and say Bari Priya Adama under those circumstances. But the thing I'm not clear about. The trees which are absolute trees, whether the big trees or small trees, the brown is definitely lights. Which is and grains, which one plants every year. Their brach is definitely adama. On the Meshach appears time, but their small fruits have daily besados yorim, which grow in fields and in forests. Nikrim yagidis, they're berries. V'yeshmem shchorim v'adumim. You have blackberries and red berries, mesukim halutzim, sweet berries and sour berries. Chains are they're not planted. Udem at some and they grow on grasses. Come on, nothing katani, like small branches. Each and every summer people gather them. There seems to be a machlokas about them. And they said, Pashim. It's difficult. It's clear that if it's not possible or it's difficult to clarify based on the depths of the halacha, or you have a doubt in hand, you make adama. And then you say even the brachas are 8. But let's clarify as much as we can with God's help. Gimel. This language the Gemara Hechem Varchin on Bari Parades. I make a Bari Parades. Hechem the Shakatla the Pere Isla Gavza. If you take away the tree, the fruit, you still have the trunk. Rashi says however a nafshalates, the branch of the tree. But don't make it, and Rashi says Perachin and then produces another fruit. Then that's a tree. But when you take away the fruit, the gavza, the branch is not there. So the maybe to produce again. You don't make a berpeitz or berpeitoma. Because after according to this, even if the primary part of the tree remains in the ground until next year, nevertheless, enough if that branch is eliminated, they make adam on this. Said that's and it dries in the fall. The kula gavze and its leaf is its branches are eliminated. The tarfe and its leaves ligame completely. For the pari mishashim, and then it grows again from the root the following year. Make a bar piyadam on this akal shano. Cheni remi bahad perik vav the brachas. Tav v'zel gam kaman asar b'sein b'alei shulchan arbesi beis. This was the shulchan arbesi. Yechasvu al tutim agdelim b'sneh. That if you have berries which grow in a bush, because it's only called the tree if it produces leaves from that from its wood. But it produces its leaves from its roots. That's not called a tree. Bahani came the color of the gambe. In this case, the wood is completely eradicated in the winter. For the parach mishoshin, and then it grows again from the roots. Mevorchin Allah bar b'yadayim, make a bar b'yadayim akal shana. Meitzo perusho me'anafav. When it says from the wood, it means from the branches. Ufi is a combination yagdish lana. So according to all of our berries, b'chas ha'adam, the bracha b'yadama. Filashcharish k'rin shvartza yagdish, and even the blackberries. Shegulan be'ilan kata namuch, which grow in a short tree. And there is a root there from year to year. Nevertheless, came enough of Kolim B'choref, since the fruit comes off in the winter. Mevarchin Adama, make Adama. It's astonishing. Avram says 8 on blackberries. The cell rock the das of Risha B'tur, that only works out according to the Re. The rock Shemus came Shon Shon, Barchim Ha'etz Ayin Sham, that even as long as the tree exists in the ground from year to year, make a bird praise. I want to come on. We hope to pay Rashi. We are going in that it has to produce. They have to produce those same branches have to produce fruit the following year. I'm astonished that they didn't know. Rambam Rif and Rambam links down. He doesn't use Taiti. Shem B'Shul the Gemara Mavor is El Rabbi Yehuda. That Arukh HaShulchan explains that they hold that this additional definition of a qualification of a tree. That's saying where the branches produce again, that it works out according to Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbanan Sarkin and Gamba, but Rabbanan have much more restrictive interpretation of tree. For Ayazem Yusham is so precate the climb, Shemesh Yusham the Av Dover should be the Shel Kilaim, Nechshav Elon. Yusham says, even so which for it's considered a tree in terms of Kilaim. Come Kalim Bracha, Adam could still be Adam for Bracha. Shmami now, this includes Bar Peitz Lombar Kina Ella Elon Gomor. Bar Peitz only make on a real tree, I should say an absolute tree. And the tree linear Okilaim is not a tree linear in brachas. The chain low to a river Rambam, we said if a river Rambam did not bring this because they didn't have to distinguish between secondary types of tree. There's only the primary tree and no tree at all. Hey, ulefi zeh, komine yagdish lanu, all of our berries, hein shcharin hein adumi, whether they're black or red, hein mesugin and chamutim, sweet or sour, morchlan bar pri adama. Yesh min shenimtza nimtza chavish koin kalinas. They're called whatever they are. You can't eat them at all. Once you rock the sorbet, we just suck out the syrup in them. They make a shackle. Because our baby says to people, Dal ha mazonos mevorchim bar pri adama. You don't know what this is. It's mazonos. V'chein al brumber ve'erf eretz. We don't know what these are either. I'll vine verlach, the smarren them dish, vagressen, volinis, mevorchin ha'etz. All these, whatever they are, they're considered the Haim Milanos Gemara, they're complete trees. It's kind of tov, kolim, mosachar, and they last the entire winter. Yismishkas da molinas, mevorchim adama, the davar tamuahu, and it's astonishing. Chenu nogin barchim ha'etz, and we make ha'etz of them. The rubbin is in we machil klal. Rubbin is going to eat it all. Nothing but talk mashkin. Just put it into beverages. If you actually do eat them and taste in them a taste, you should make a shako on them. So molinas are raspberries. So on raspberries, you do make a bar prates because they're absolute trees. Suppose I guess to the blackberries. And smardanis are blueberries. So and releasing of blueberries and raspberries constitute forms of tree. I don't know the blackberries, which we have here are the same blackberries, which it says Adoma. Raspberries and blueberries are Ha'etz. It seems that perhaps blackberries and blackberries are as well. So probably blackberries are not our type of blackberries.